A special report on the increasing use of controversial facial recognition technology in policing and the push to extend it to forces across England and Wales. The Metropolitan Police revealed today that they've been responsible for more than 500 arrests this year, including 50 for violence against women and girls. The force has pioneered its use along with South Wales Police, and now other constabularies are trailing it too. But use of the technology is not governed by any specific legislation, and there are growing concerns over its impact on privacy and the risk that suspects might be wrongly identified. ITV News was invited to film with the Met as its officers showed us how the technology is used, and we've also spoken to campaigners who are taking legal action against the force. Our correspondent, Sejal Carrier, reports.
It's at the cutting edge of fighting crime, scanning faces on a street in real time to identify wanted suspects. Facial recognition technology is seen as the most powerful policing tool since fingerprinting. A game changer, say police, to keep us safer. A digital police lineup, say critics, that's an invasion of privacy. In Croydon, South London, police have stopped a suspect wanted for 6 offences of theft. He's been flagged by the police's live facial recognition van parked nearby. After confirming his identity, he's arrested and taken away in handcuffs. Earlier that day, we joined the police to see the system in action.
So within less than a second, it's checking the facial features, so their eyes, nose, mouth, bone structure of their faces, and it's checking them against the pictures that we've got on our watch list to see if they are any of those people.
But within minutes, an alarm goes off.
Crime.
So there's
We're just, yeah.
What's happened?
So a subject has just walked through one of our cameras who's got conditions that have been set by us or by the courts. We can see that they've walked through the Santander camera, so officers should be stopping that person now.
Is that the only phone you've got on you?
He's a registered sex offender. A few checks reveal he's adhering to the conditions imposed on him, and they let him go.
Cameras on top of the police van captured his face and hundreds of others walking past, comparing it to a watch list of wanted people. Those of innocent passers-by, police say, were automatically deleted. My face was added to the list to demonstrate how the technology works.
In under a second of me walking past the van, the system spotted my face, triggering an alert. Nearby, officers have my mugshot highlighted on a handheld device to decide if it's really me. Police say mine is among more than 700,000 faces scanned this year alone. Of these, over 1,000 were flagged by the system, resulting in more than 500 arrests. But 27 of those flagged were mistakenly identified.
It's a stop and search of steroids. That's what I look at that as.
One of them was anti-knife activist Sean Thompson.
So when they first grabbed me, first they've said, you have reason to believe that you're a wanted man. And I said, wanted for what? You know? They then said that's what they're there to find out.
But he says the system had wrongly flagged him as a suspect.
I know I haven't done nothing wrong. It's simple. The guy's face, you showed me there, it's not, I'm saying that face is not me.
That's when they started to ask me all the details of what identification I had. So I gave them the bank card. They wanted me to have photo ID, give them fingerprints on top of that, you know. Where I then said, no, I'll draw the line at that. It's lazy policing. Yeah, you're relying on the machine to scan and do your job for you.
Human rights campaigner Silky Carlo was there the night Sean Thompson was picked up by police.
I think all of us as members of the public want the police to catch criminals, but we also don't want to live in an open prison. This is one of the risks of facial recognition, is that it just completely turns the presumption of innocence in this country onto its head, where suddenly everyone is a suspect and you have to kind of be cleared by a computer system, and if it gets it wrong, you still have to prove who you are.
We have a technology here and now today that has already taken 500 wanted offenders off the streets of London.
Lindsay Chiswick is the Director of Intelligence at the Metropolitan Police.
Critics argue that that is a system whereby the person is assumed to be guilty and has to prove their innocence. What would you say to that?
I disagree with that. I think it's really important to underline here that an engagement, a conversation, doesn't always end in an arrest. And this is normal, everyday policing.
There are no specific laws, though, are there, that
No.
govern facial recognition technology?
No, there's no primary legislation for the use of the technology.
Shouldn't there be, to enable parliamentary scrutiny?
From my perspective, we have a technology here which has made a massive difference to Londoners.
Critics of this system say that it's an infringement of privacy and is not subject to specific laws.
I think I take those views very seriously, and there's always going to be a range of views whenever it comes to introducing a new, modern and innovative technology.
Notwithstanding its critics, the Prime Minister has announced he wants to expand the use of facial recognition technology across the country, much to campaigners' dismay.
Such an interesting report, Sejal. The technology was described by that campaigner as creating an open prison. If the police want to use this more widely, the controversy is only going to get bigger as well, isn't it?
Yes, Geraint, there's no doubt that this whole system, this whole technology is controversial. The police say that it's revolutionised policing, but privacy campaigners say that we are hurtling towards a mass surveillance state akin to Russia or China. And there are concerns over accuracy. 27 times this year, the system has misidentified someone in London. That's according to the Met's own figures. Now, the police would like you to look at the bigger numbers. They say that's 27 out of 700,000 people that walked past the cameras. But human rights groups say that that error rate is higher once someone is flagged. 1 in every 40 alerts was a false positive. The system works by giving a score of how confident it is of a match, but independent testing shows that below 60%, you start to see a racial bias. The police say, the Metropolitan Police say, that it operates above that level. Now, we spoke to people who walked past the cameras on the day that we were filming, and they were broadly supportive if it meant that the streets were safer.